Hello, friends. It's Dr. John Worldpeace, JD, coming to you from Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's about 21:15 on Wednesday, July the 28th, 2021. This video this evening is going to be kind of a global view of what I'm doing, who I am generally, but what I am focused on and have been focused on my entire life, which is how do we increase the level of peace in the world human society. I'll tell you right up front that people hate peace, even though they give it lip service, and not everybody, but the majority of people. And they hate more someone like me who advocates peace, and especially me in particular, because they cannot discount me. I have done my homework. I have walked the walk as well as talk the talk, and that's for another tape. I've got some tapes on what I've done, but you can go to johnworldpeace.com. That's my flagship site, and on that site you will be connected to everything that I've written. That site's been up since 1998, and I've been writing about world peace since 1988. There's about 15,000 words there. Most people can't even begin to wrap their head around it. But I've been searching my whole life for what are the impediments to increase the level of peace in the world human society. I am not an advocate of a perfect peace, because I think that's a joke. Not now, not ever. The reason there's never going to be a perfect peace is because people are selfish, and people have to deal with change. Every time somebody in the family dies, every time anything happens to your friends or your groups you're involved in or whatever, there's change, and that requires adjustment. World peace, to increase the level of world peace, or peace in the world human society, requires change. And so it's not really that peace that people hate. It's the fact that they know they're going to have to make some changes to increase the level of peace in the world human society. My signature statement is, how can we manifest peace on earth if we don't include everyone, all races, all religions, all nationalities, all genders, in our vision of peace? And the answer is, if we don't include everybody, we're not going to accomplish much of anything as far as increasing the peace. An American peace is not going to generate world peace. A Christian peace is not going to generate world peace. 2,000 years of Christianity has proven that. 240 years of America has proved that they're incapable, America's incapable of making a significant change for the positive with world peace. A white peace is not going to manifest an increase in world peace. And a male peace is not going to do much to increase the chances of peace in the world human society. That's the reality. I contemplated, studied long ago what are the impediments, the main impediments of peace, and the backside of that question is what entities, organizations are responsible for maintaining the peace and increasing the peace in the world human society. And in 1988, I came down to the three core entities: government, religions, and the courts of law. Those three entities determine the amount of peace in local societies, state, local, state, national, globally. But I've come to realize, really just in the last 5 years, I missed two entities. The colleges and university, the higher level education, and the global corporations. The global corporations have the ability, by the fact that they're paying people to do certain things, they can mandate certain things. A prime example right now, this very moment, is the corporation's ability to tell people they're either going to wear a mask, or they're going to get tested every week, or they're not going to have a job, or they're not going to be allowed to come to work. That's a lot of power. That's more power really than even the government or the courts, and it's immediate. Big flaw with the educational universities, colleges, if you think about it, is that not a single university, college in the entire world human society has a curriculum for teaching peace. I have a curriculum, it's on my website. But there is massive resistance against teaching peace. Why? Because when you start teaching peace in an open university where things can be discussed, you have chaos. You have borderline mini civil wars within the university. You have split the board of directors. And so nobody wants to go there. The United States of America should have a Department of Peace. Why not? We've got a Department of War. They call it Defense. But no Department of Peace. Health, education, welfare, etc., but no Department of Peace, no Secretary of the Department of Peace to sit in on the cabinet meetings. I will tell you now that I'm the only one qualified to be the head of that department. There's nobody else on my level. I have no peers. You read through that 15,000 pages on my flagship website, you're going to acknowledge I have no peers. Between work and school and family and reading about peace and studying the world human society, I've worked 80 to 90 hours a week. A person that's working 40 hours a week, or let's put it another way, if I'm working 80 hours a week, then I'm learning twice as much as somebody working 40, and I have always worked. I started working in the 11th grade. I was working about 30 hours a week and going to school, and then I got in college and I went to work full time for the first 3 years, part time for half of the fourth year, and I didn't work the last quarter, the last semester of that 4-year degree in political science. And I graduated in August 1970, and in October, 6 weeks later, I was drafted into the Army. I was in the Army. So, governments have their own interests. The United States of America is an aggressive, warring, manipulative nation. I'm not saying that's bad, because all nations are pretty much the same, but we have the power. And we have the power to increase the peace. We have the power not to support right-wing dictators at the expense of the population of those countries. Christians. Every preacher out there and priest is a false preacher. I've got a book called The Third Millennium, Second Reformation of Christianity, and I talk about that among many other things. Christians are a huge impediment to peace. Republicans are a huge impediment to increasing the level of peace in the world. The courts of law, and I practiced law for 20 years, are corrupt. All the judges are corrupt, all of them. The whole system is rigged, and unless you've been into a lawsuit, civil or criminal, you don't get that. The whole thing is rigged. It's a conflict-oriented, greed-driven entity. I am ashamed that I participated in it, and yet I knew I had to get in there and be a lawyer and see what the problem was. I have a political science degree, and I ran for governor of Texas 2002. I had the education and I had the experience to talk about politics. I've been studying religion my whole life. I've written 25, 30 books, not only on Christianity, but the other world religions. I've been to church much. I've been to Muslim churches. I've been to Buddhist churches. I've been to Christian churches. I've been to Catholic churches. And I've written about it. I've studied it. So again, in regards to religion, I have the experience and the education, most of which is self-education. But if you look at what I have done in that area, you will agree that I have about a PhD or 2 PhD equivalencies in the self-study. I studied law and I practiced law. So again, I have the education and I have the experience. Business. I've been self-employed 50 years in insurance, accounting, tax, law, and web design. I've had my own businesses. Virtually my entire working career from 1972 to date, and I'm still working in the web design business. So in understanding corporations and taxes and profit and loss and so on and so forth, I have the experience and I have the education. I have degrees in accounting and political science and law, and again, equivalencies in the insurance business of a couple of bachelor degrees there. I understand economics. I understand the economics of business. I spent 10 years in college getting those 3 degrees and working full time the whole 10 years. And I'm not talking about 9 months out of the year. I'm talking 12 months out of the year, because I always went to summer school. I understand the educational system. Now, I have not been a professor. I have not taught. But I've been a student. And I understand how the professor universities operate and how they manipulate knowledge and shirk the responsibility to teach peace. Government, the law, religion, business, education. Those are the foundations, the maintainers and promoters of increasing the peace in the world, human society, and I have significant experience and significant education in each one of those areas, and nobody else on this planet has that resume. My IQ is in the top 1%. There's evidence on that on my vetting documents, just like being in the military. I served my country. I didn't shirk that. I was an infantry sergeant. Trained for Vietnam for a year. By the grace of God, I went to the NATO forces, CTAF, in Italy, and not to Vietnam, where I was trained to go for 9 months. 11 months. I am a polymath. That means I have a lot of interest and a lot of in-depth understanding in those interests. I don't have anybody on my level. Sure, there's people have an IQ as high as me, but they have stayed in one area. Accounting, tax law, university, military, and they become experts there, but outside that expertise, they don't have much. So that's who I am. That's my credentials. And the next tapes and all that follow are going to be about how do we increase the level of peace in the world, human society. And if you want to preview, go to johnworldpeace.com and start reading. Thank you for your consideration. Have a good evening.